Hello everyone, my name is SolarFury and today we are back on tiermaker.com making yet another tier list. So today guys, we are going to do every single legendary card in the entire game. Now the first thing you may notice is throughout these cards you may be looking and you're like, where's the Ram Rider? Well, this template I found didn't have a Ram Rider, and when I tried to make a template, for some reason it was just being really buggy and glitchy, so I didn't want to fool with it. So my man Wyatt James, it's a little bit outdated, but you know, we're just gonna put the Ram Rider in our imagination in here. So we have 4 tiers for this: S, A, B, and C. Really, because I don't feel like any legendary in the game is below what would be a C tier. All legendary cards in the game definitely do have their purpose, and they are viable in some way, shape, or form, unlike some cards, wall breakers. But that's for another video. If you want to check out what I ranked the wall breakers in, along with every other card in Clash Royale, definitely be sure to check that out. I'll have an info card for that, and probably a link in the description as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the Bandit. So the Bandit, y'all know the Bandit. It's a 3 elixir card. It's been in the game for a very long time. It's a win condition for only 3 elixir. It has a unique mechanic with its dashing. It can do a heck of a lot of damage if it dashes onto your tower and you don't do anything about it. And its regular attack, it does half of its dash, but that's still a lot of damage, you know? And really, this card is so valuable for 3 elixir. It's really prominent in a lot of bridge spam and control decks. And yeah, Bandit overall is a very solid legendary. I'm going to put it at S tier. Next up, we have the Electro Wizard. Similar to the Bandit, it's been in the game for a very long time. The Electro Wizard was the first legendary that I ever won from a challenge. It was actually my first 12-win challenge back when the Electro Wizard challenge first came out. Electro Wizard, it is such a good card right now. You can put an Electro Wizard in literally any deck and replace one card for it, and that deck will most likely become better. Electro Wizard is most prominent right now in P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam Control, both the versions with the Battle Ram and the Ram Rider. Electro Wizard is also pretty prominent really in anything, to be straight up with you guys. Royal Giant, it's really popular in that. You can put Electro Wizard in anything, as I said, and the deck will be really good. The stun mechanic is really nice. It's a direct hard counter to Sparky. So yeah, overall Electro Wizard, I'm gonna have to put it at an S tier as well. Next up we have the Graveyard. Graveyard's a really interesting Clash Royale card. Again, I remember when this one first came out. It was definitely an interesting time for Clash Royale because, you know, it was an interesting card. 5 elixir. It was spell. It's one of the only 2 legendary spells along with the log, and you can put it anywhere on the arena and it will spawn a bunch of skeletons. The Graveyard alone itself is not that great, but if you have something taking for the Graveyard, such as an Ice Golem or a Knight, it can do a lot of damage, definitely. Although the one thing about a Graveyard is that it can be literally hard countered by a poison. If your opponent has a poison and he keeps saving it for the Graveyard, you're going to have a hard time winning that match. So I'm going to have to put the Graveyard at the B tier. It's a good card, but it's just not consistent enough as a win condition to be really reliable. Next up, we have the Ice Wizard. Ice Wizard was one of the first legendaries in the game. Ice Wizard and Princess were the first legendaries in the game. I believe they were introduced to the game when the game launched global on March 2nd, 2016. Ice Wizard's very, very nice. 3 elixir card. It slows everything down, and paired with a Tornado, Ice Wizard can do a lot of work, especially when paired with like another splash card like a Baby Dragon, a Wizard, or an Executioner. So overall, Ice Wizard, I would have to put it at the B tier again. Alone by itself, it's not that great. It doesn't have that much offensive potential, but it has a lot of defensive potential when paired with a lot of cards. But as a standalone card, I don't feel like it is deserving of anything more than a B. Next up, we have the Inferno Dragon, the Flying Inferno Tower that is just a bit less, you know. Inferno Dragon, again, is viable in a lot of different spots. It's viable in Mega Knight decks primarily is where you see an Inferno Dragon. It's also viable in plenty of Lava Hound decks as well. And in my opinion, the Inferno Dragon is one of the best tank killers in the entire game, if it were not for the mini P.E.K.K.A. and another card we'll get to soon enough. The one issue with the Inferno Dragon is kind of like the Inferno Tower. It gets hard countered by the Electro Wizard and the Electro Dragon, and lightning. So yeah, Inferno Dragon, it's a very good tank killer, but if you're going up against the E-Wiz, the E-Drag, or a lightning, it's pretty much game over for you if you don't have anything else to get rid of a tank. So I'm gonna put it at the A tier. 4 elixir, really good card. Next up, we have the Lava Hound. Lava Hound is the beefiest air tank in the game. It really is the only air tank in the game, which is what makes it unique. 7 elixir, it's on the expensive side, but Lava Hound is an archetype in itself. You have Lava Loon, you have Lava Miner Control, we have Lava Clone. Lava Hound is everywhere. I remember when Lava Clone was a big craze. Lava Hound was one of the most used cards in the entire game. For a while, toward the earlier days of Clash Royale, I used to only play Lava Hound. And yeah, it was really fun for me. Lava Hound is still very fun and still very viable, especially when it pops and you get those lava pups. That's a lot of DPS you can get. So I'm gonna have to put the Lava Hound in the A tier. Very, very solid card. Next up, we have the Lumberjack. Straight up, I'm just gonna put the Lumberjack in the S tier and then we will talk about it. So for 4 elixir, you get a juiced up barbarian that swings crazy fast, does crazy damage, and when it dies, it drops a full strength rage spell, which is really crazy. So as I was saying, I believe that the Lumberjack overall is the best tank killer in the entire game and probably the most versatile card in the entire game. You can literally place a Lumberjack in any single deck of any single archetype and it will fit in perfectly. It fits in with Golem, Royal Giant, P.E.K.K.A, Lava Hound, even Lava Hound Lumberjack fits in with. So yeah, Lumberjack, straight up S tier. It's a great card. Next up, we have my boy, the Magic Archer. 4 elixir card. It has the smallest splash radius in the entire game at 0.25 tiles. But with the power of geometry, the Magic Archer can do a lot of work, especially when placed behind a tank. Really, when looking at the Magic Archer, it's only prominent in one main deck and one main archetype, which is Bridge Spam with Ram Rider. So that's really the only place where it's viable. You can try putting it in decks, but really, there's these decks I'm talking about. They have a lot better options that you could put in there. So Magic Archer, I'm gonna have to put it at the C tier. It is a very cool card, but overall, there's just better alternatives to it. Next up, we have the Mega Knight. 7 elixir card. The Enter the Arena effect of the Mega Knight is truly valuable. You can shut down an entire push and get numerous positive elixir trades by using a Mega Knight and just dropping it on like a Battle Ram, a Hog Rider, a Musketeer, Electro Wizard, whatever. So yeah, tons of health, does tons of damage to smaller units, but against bigger tanks like a Golem or a Giant or a P.E.K.K.A, in fact, Mega Knight is hard countered by P.E.K.K.A, it really doesn't do so hot. So I'm gonna have to put the Mega Knight at a B tier. Really, the reason why Mega Knight and Inferno Dragon go so well together is so that way the Inferno Dragon can kill the tanks while the Mega Knight kills the medium-sized units. So yeah, that's how that synergy works right there, in case you guys didn't know. Next up, we have the Miner. The Miner is probably one of the most polarizing cards in all of Clash Royale. You can put it anywhere on the arena, similar to the Graveyard. But the difference between the Miner and the Graveyard is with the Miner, you're basically guaranteed to get 1 or 2 hits every single time, unless your opponent is just so good and predicts your Miner placements every single time. So yeah, it's a 3 elixir card. There's entire archetypes built around Miner. Miner Poison being the most prominent one. Miner decks, they are very high skill, but if you can master the art of Miner control, you can do a lot of work and really you shouldn't lose. So I'm going to put the Miner at the A tier. Next up, we have my girl, the Night Witch. If you've been following my channel for even 1 or 2 videos, you guys know that I talk about the Night Witch all the time. She is my favorite card in the entire game. And yeah, if there were waifus in Clash Royale, the Night Witch would definitely be mine. 4 elixir card, she does melee damage, she spawns bats, and overall, she is a pretty dang good card. Although the only problem with the Night Witch is that she's really only viable in 2 main archetypes, which is Golem and Giant. And you really only see her in Golem, not so much Giant anymore. So even though I love you so much, Night Witch, I love you with all my heart, I'm going to have to put you at the B tier. Please don't get mad at me. I still love you. But personally, for me, you would be in a triple S tier if there was one. But looking at the entire collection of legendary cards in the game, I'm gonna have to put you at a B tier. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry, Night Witch. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's where you are. Next up, we have the Princess. Princess 3 elixir card. I believe it's the only card that can snipe the other Princess tower without being touched at all, which is definitely unique. And it does pretty good splash damage. Its arrows shoot really fast as of the last buff. And it can clean up a minion horde for a +2 elixir trade. You can play it in the opposite lane even, because its range is that insane. Again, like I said earlier, Ice Wizard and Princess, they were the first 2 legendary cards in the entire game. And I feel like, especially with the resurgence of log bait, the Princess deserves to be in the A tier. She is too good. Next up, we have the Royal Ghost. Royal Ghost, upon the introduction of the card in the game, was definitely broken. 3 elixir card, it could literally turn invisible to the point where nothing could attack it unless it attacked. It still does that, but it's just not as good as it used to. I believe it's had damage nerfs, health nerfs. The amount of time it took to turn invisible again was nerfed. So overall, Royal Giant, I'm going to have to put it in this, or Royal Ghost. No, Royal Giant's S tier, but Royal Ghost is going to be C tier. Really, it's only viable in one deck, and this deck itself is dying. And this is P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam, you know, with the Battle Ram. Not the updated version with the Ram Rider and Baby Dragon, but, you know, the classic version with Battle Ram and Royal Ghost. Next up, we have Trash Can on Wheels, Sparky. Now, Sparky's a tricky one. Sparky, if you can master the art of Sparky, you can dominate. You can wreak havoc, especially when she is paired with the Goblin Giant. Goblin Giant Sparky, in my opinion, is one of the best combos in the entire game. It's just, you know, not so much on ladder, but more so in grand challenges and stuff. More just tournament standard, you know? So I'm going to have to put Sparky at C tier. It really is only viable with Goblin Giant and regular Giant. And the thing is, Sparky has so many hard counters. They're going to be a hard countered by a Rocket, an Electro Wizard, an Electro Dragon, a Lightning, and it can be reset by Zap. Sparky, it's a pretty good card. It's just, there's too many counters for the Sparky. So now, last but not least, actually we have 2 more because I got to put the Ram Rider in there, you know. So we got the Log. The Log is a really good card. I believe it was the first legendary spell in the game because it was introduced, I believe, a month or 2 before the Graveyard. But the Log is really cool. 2 elixir card. It can reach the tower from the bridge. It totally annihilates any swarm units like a Goblin Gang or a Skeleton Army or anything like that. It has a knockback effect as well, which is really nice. So it can push certain cards out of range of the tower, which is really nice. Although there is one issue that is preventing me from putting the Log at the S tier. I'm going to put it at the A tier, and the only reason mainly is because of the Barbarian Barrel. The Barbarian Barrel, even though it's an epic card, it is better than the Log, and it really does overshadow the Log, even though they have done countless nerfs to the Barbarian Barrel, like 5 or 6 nerfs, which is really insane. Really, the Barbarian Barrel outshines the Log because you get the same sort of value you get with the Log, and you get an extra Barbarian to go along with it. So that is putting the Log at the A tier. Now with the Ram Rider, I'm going to put that at the A tier as well. You guys can just imagine a little Ram Rider right here. But Ram Rider is really cool. It's a very unique card. It introduced a new mechanic into the game with the Snare. It can hard counter a Hog Rider and a Balloon, which I think is really insane for a ground card, that it can hard counter like an air card such as a Balloon. It does mad damage when it gets to the tower, and it's really hard to deal with, you know, because it does have quite a bit of health. The Ram Rider's health is somewhat equivalent to that of a Valkyrie, which is a pretty decent amount of health. Ram Rider is really good. It's in P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam. It's in regular Bridge Spam. I've even seen Ram Rider in some 3 Musketeer decks. Like, Ram Rider is pretty prominent. It's just going to be in the A tier, not quite the S tier. Ever since they nerfed its snare duration to the point where cards can move a little bit, it's just not S tier anymore, but it's still really good at the A tier. So yeah, that is it for this tier list, guys. Just keep in mind, guys, this is my opinion. So don't get triggered if your favorite legendary card isn't where I put it. But I would like to know where you guys put or rank these cards. I definitely want to know. If you do disagree with some of my stuff, don't get triggered. Just give me your opinion and tell me why. I'd love to discuss that with you guys in the comment section down below. So yeah, be sure to comment. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, if you are new to the channel and you like what you see, please be sure to hit that red subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, as a perk for hitting that red subscribe button, you can join the SolarFury squad, which is the latest Clash Royale community on YouTube, and we are still growing every single day. But anyway, guys, this is SolarFury signing off. Peace out, guys. Have a nice day.